The young couple rode through the forest, hearts pounding. But the kingdom was heavily guarded. The queen's army was loyal and swift. Before an hour had passed, the sound of armored horses thundered behind them. "They are coming," the young man said grimly. They tried to change direction, but it was useless. The guards surrounded them quickly. Swords gleamed in the morning light. The daughter's face turned pale. They were captured. Bound but unharmed, they were brought back to the castle gates. Servants watched silently as the guards dragged them inside. Whispers filled the courtyard. They were taken straight to the throne room. The queen sat on her throne, calm as ever. Her daughter stood before her, breathing heavily. "Did you truly believe you could escape me?" the queen asked softly. The young man stepped forward despite the guard's grip. "I will not let you hurt her," he said boldly. The queen's eyes narrowed. "And who are you?" He hesitated for a moment, then decided to tell the truth. "I am not a simple traveler. I am the son of Lord Arvin of the Northern Lands." Gasps filled the hall. The queen leaned back, thoughtful. "So," she said slowly, "this is more interesting than I expected." The daughter looked at him in shock. He had hidden this from her. "You lied to me?" she whispered. "I wanted to protect you," he answered quietly. At first it was a mission, but then it became real. And yet, the peace in the throne room did not last. The queen's silence that day was not forgiveness. It was calculation. After dismissing the guards and hearing their words, she turned away from them both and walked slowly toward the tall stained glass windows. For a moment, it seemed as if her heart had softened. But pride is a powerful thing. "You speak beautifully about kindness," she said at last, her voice cold again. "But kingdoms are not ruled by poetry." Before her daughter could answer, the great doors of the hall burst open. Guards entered at once, kneeling before the throne. "Take him," the queen ordered. The princess gasped. "Mother, no." The young man did not resist as the soldiers seized him, though his eyes never left hers. "I will return," he said firmly. "No wall can hold me forever." Silence, the queen snapped. Within moments, he was dragged away, down the winding stone stairs, past the torchlit corridors, and into the deepest prison beneath the castle. Iron doors slammed shut. Chains were fastened to the wall. The air in the dungeon was damp and heavy, smelling of stone and rust. Above ground, the princess fell to her knees. "You promised you would listen," she cried. "I listened," the queen replied calmly. "And I decided. You are destroying everything." "No," the queen said. "I am protecting my throne." From that day forward, the princess was forbidden to leave her chamber without guards. The windows were watched. The gates were doubled with soldiers. And the young man, the son of Lord Arvin of the Northern Lands, remained locked in darkness. Days passed. The princess tried everything. She begged. She refused food. She threatened to leave again. But the queen would not allow her anywhere near the prison. "You will forget him," the queen said firmly. "Time erases foolish feelings." But time did not erase anything. Instead, it carried news. Far in the Northern Lands, Lord Arvin waited for his son's return. When the boy had left, he carried confidence. But when he did not return, concern grew. Then came a messenger, pale, breathless, terrified. "My lord," he said, bowing low, "your son has been imprisoned in the Southern Queen's castle." The great hall of the Northern Kingdom fell into stunned silence. Lord Arvin rose slowly from his throne. He was not a cruel ruler, but he was powerful. His armies were disciplined, his alliances strong. "They dare to cage my son," he said, his voice like distant thunder. Within hours, preparations began. Horses were saddled, armor polished, banners raised. The Northern Army marched at dawn. Back in the southern castle, the Queen was informed that soldiers had been seen near the border. She smiled faintly. "So he comes." But even she could not ignore the scale of what approached. Hundreds of armored riders, war drums echoing across the valleys, flags of the northern lands waving in the wind. The princess heard the distant horns from her tower window. Hope flared in her chest. "He came," she whispered. The Northern Army reached the castle gates before sunset. Lord Arvin himself rode at the front, silver armor gleaming under the fading light. The gates remained closed. "Open," he commanded. No answer. He raised his hand, and within seconds, heavy battering rams were brought forward. Inside, the Queen stood in the throne room, composed but tense. Her advisors whispered of war, of bloodshed, of risk. Finally, the gates opened, not out of surrender, but for negotiation. Lord Arvin entered the hall with only a handful of guards, but the power he carried filled the room. The Queen sat upon her throne, unmoving. "You hold my son," he said directly. "He entered my kingdom under false pretenses," she replied. "He deceived my daughter. He loved her. He lied to her." Lord Arvin's eyes hardened. "And you chained him for it. I protect what is mine." He stepped closer. "If harm has come to him, your kingdom will answer for it." Silence stretched between them like a blade. At that moment, the princess rushed into the hall, ignoring the guards who tried to stop her. "Father Arvin," she cried. "He is alive, but locked below." The Queen's gaze snapped toward her daughter. "You defy me again?" "I will always defy cruelty," the princess said bravely. Lord Arvin looked between them, a divided family, a divided throne. "I did not come for war," he said firmly. "I came for my son." For a long moment, the Queen said nothing. She understood power. She understood strength. And she understood that a war between their lands would cost more than pride. Finally, she stood. "Bring him." The dungeon doors opened once more. The young man, pale but unbroken, was led into the throne room. When he saw his father, relief flickered across his face. "Father." Lord Arvin stepped forward and embraced him tightly. "Are you harmed?"
"No."
The princess tried to run to him, but her mother's guards blocked her path. Their eyes met across the hall, full of longing, full of sorrow. "Let her go," the young man said. The Queen's jaw tightened.
"No."
Lord Arvin placed a protective arm around his son. "We leave." The princess struggled against the guards. "Don't take him, please." But the decision had been made. The Northern Lord turned toward the doors. "I will return," he whispered to the wind. And in the tower window of the southern castle, a lonely princess whispered the same words.